How you doing, guys? It's me, Amin again. So yeah, here with a quick market update for you guys. So yeah, let's take a quick look at coinmarketcap.com. We can see basically a lot of the altcoins since Bitcoin here had its parabolic move after this head and shoulders pattern. It had a big kind of parabolic move up, and then basically it stopped out on at the all-time high, and it's still fairly close to the all-time high at the moment. But it literally stopped basically spot on the all-time high if you look at the 4-hour chart, which I'm going to get to in a minute. But basically what that did was it caused a lot of the altcoins to really take a hit. But as you can see, a lot of them now are bouncing back really nicely. If you look at the top 30 coins or so, gas is up nicely, salt's coming up. Yeah, I mean, yeah, this one always has a nice bounce. H share. Stratis not so much. Stratis's day will come, but it's still looking very poorly. Lisk had a nice bounce. OMG I knew was going to have a nice bounce because it was coming down before anyway, and it was just looking really oversold. And OMG has excellent fundamentals. So when a coin like that goes down a lot, then there's a lot of people waiting on the sidelines to buy up a coin like that. And with Qtum, although it's not, Qtum has, it hasn't bounced that well today. Neo did climb a little, but now it's just kind of stagnating slightly. But yeah, I mean, price, the thing about it, guys, price does not just shoot up. And when we say, coins are going to have a bounce, yes, they're going to have a bounce, but then they're going to need to take a breath, and then they're going to need to carry on up. So sometimes you're going to see a coin go up like 10%, 15%, and then the next day they're like at minus 0.5% or what have you. That's just them having a little correction, taking time to kind of regenerate, to kind of shake some people out, some profit takers out, and then get a fresh batch of people into the market. Okay, so that's why you always want to kind of get into a coin that's got a lot of interest in it, and it's going to have a lot, buyers ready to kind of step in. Ripple is one of those coins at the moment, guys, where there's a lot of buyers ready to step in with Ripple. So it's a pretty exciting time for Ripple. I can definitely see this coin going a lot higher against the dollar. Against Bitcoin, it's trading very differently compared to the dollar. Compared to the dollar, it's starting to go up a lot. Just like a month or so ago, it's down at like 15 cents, and now it's at 26 cents, and it's looking like it's going to go higher and higher now. Okay, because it's had that big shakeout after the Bitcoin thing, and now it's going to start to generate some strength. There is a big conference going on with Ripple. There's a lot of news. Stroke rumor mill at the moment with Ripple, which is again gonna push the price up higher, I think. But I do feel that once the news is here, then it's probably going to be one of those buy the rumor, sell the news things. Although, I do like Ripple, and I do think this is a long-term project, and I can see this being, one of the, if not the, one of the major basically cryptocurrencies like that has the potential to have mass adoption in the future. But you know what this crypto space is like, guys. What's here today can be completely different tomorrow or the next month. So we just got to kind of keep our finger on the pulse, so to speak. So let me just take a quick look at this market cap statistics. Okay, so if I zoom into this section here, just to kind of zoom in a bit, we're basically seeing something here, guys, that, all right, so here's the thing, guys. When the market cap was at its peak right here, that's when Bitcoin was at all-time high right here. Okay, so okay, let me just MCATH, yeah, that's market cap all-time high right here. Yeah, and where we are right now is basically, I mean, the market cap at the moment is is not as high as that. But if you look at the price, we have definitely, I mean, in terms of the Bitcoin price, we're basically at all-time high. We did hit all-time high, but even though we're not at all-time high right now, we're basically within touching distance. So it means we're at all-time high levels. Okay, so I'll get out of my YouTube channel there. So basically what I mean by that is Bitcoin seems to be outperforming the overall cryptocurrency market cap at the moment, because the market cap is lower than it was before at all-time high. You know, it's considerably lower. It's like almost like 30 or 20. It's like $25 billion lower, right? But Bitcoin is at almost all-time high. So what that says to me, guys, is that the altcoins are really there's less money in the altcoins right now. There's more money going in from the altcoins and into Bitcoin, and there's less money going into altcoins at the moment, right? I know that sounds ridiculous with the number of altcoins we have and the ICO market booming and stuff like that, but think about it, guys. With all these regulations and things happening, with China regulating the ICOs or banning ICOs, with South Korea banning South Korean ICOs, with the SEC, you know, regulating ICOs, what that is doing is basically stifling the amount of money coming into the altcoin market, right? Is stifling the amount of money coming into the altcoin market. All of this section here was basically pre-regulation. You know, it's pre-regulation. Now we're starting to see regulation, which is basically saying to me, okay, we've got really high, you know, price in Bitcoin, and usually that would correlate with the market cap. If we have all-time high in Bitcoin, then usually we'd have all-time high in market cap. I mean, market cap should at least be up here in the 180 billion range, right? But we're not seeing that, which is saying to me that, you know, there's less money in the altcoins at the moment, and we shouldn't expect the altcoins. I mean, this could easily change, right? But just looking at this, like, common sense is telling me, okay, look, this is a clear downtrend right here. Like, this is obviously not as high as this. This is clearly telling me that there's not as much money in the altcoins. Now, if we scroll down here and take a look at the market cap of the entire crypto market except the altcoins. Now we can see here, look, the altcoins have had a massive influx in money. We were down at $2 billion, right? In January, we're at like 2 billion, right? Yeah, 2.4 billion. And we peaked at like 97 billion, I think it was. If we scroll in a bit, you know, we peaked at 97 billion, guys. There, you can see it right there, yeah? 97 billion. So we went from 2.5 billion to 97 billion in market cap in just like, you know, 3/4 of a year, right? It's ridiculous, right? Or 2/3 of a year. But you can see here, guys, yeah, we had a big step up in, you know, two nice big legs up in market cap, but now we're just kind of starting to dome over a bit, or just kind of consolidate here, yeah? So we're kind of consolidating here a bit, and I think we just need to, I don't know, if we see the altcoin market cap surpass, you know, 75 billion or so, like the altcoin market cap, I think if we see this surpass this line here, 75 billion, or probably 76 billion or so, right? This line right here. I can't draw a line on my browser, guys. If you've got a tool that, if any of you guys know a tool that I can just like doodle on a web page, then, you know, hit me up in the comments. I could really use that, right? But anyway, yeah, basically what I'm saying is we need the market cap of the altcoins to just step up a bit. to give us an indication that more money is going to start flowing into the altcoins. Okay, that's what I'm thinking. That's that's just one thing I'm thinking, right? That doesn't mean that I think altcoins are dead or anything like that. Don't take my words to mean that. I'm not saying altcoins are dead or altcoins won't rise. Of course they will, because majority of altcoins, first of all, they have a much smaller market cap, right? Which means they're much easily swayed, right? There are some altcoins like Neo, Ripple is doing good at the moment. IOTA's got big things coming on, Omise Go, Qtum. There's some altcoins here, there's a new one that looks quite interesting, Substratum. There's some altcoins that really that have genuinely good projects behind them and can definitely attract a lot more money into them, right? The majority of them won't, but then the majority of them, the smaller cap ones, are easier to move, because when you've got something that's much like lower market cap, like for example metal here, and it's only trading like under 3 million, right? Which is still quite a lot for an altcoin, but you can move that. A whale can move that, because a whale with like $500,000 $1 million to trade can easily move this market. Majority of these markets are very, very easily moved, right? Look at this, number 55, Gnosis, right? 283,000 in trading volume across the board in all exchanges, right? I know people personally that can move that easily, right? So, they could probably just buy up the whole coin, right? So that's just an observation, guys. Okay. Another thing is, let's look down here. All right. So this will illustrate it more. Okay. So this is the percentage of market cap, like of all of them, like individually shown, right? So, well, not all of them, some of the major altcoins and Bitcoin. Okay, so we can see here back all the way up to June, Bitcoin was losing its total market share of the of crypto, and the others like Ethereum was gaining on Bitcoin, coming to the point where Ethereum was like gonna get really close to overtaking Bitcoin, right? And Ripple had a huge move up as well, right? But what we can see now is basically, as you can see, Bitcoin, since this bottom right here, it bottomed out at 37.7% of the total crypto market dominance, right? Since then, it's just starting to head up now. Okay, and it's slowly starting to head up, and some of the major altcoins like Ethereum is losing more and more and more and more market dominance, and that is because of the ICO regulations and stuff like that, right? But nevertheless, things can turn around, right? Markets, move up and down at the end of the day, right? This one is like other altcoins. Okay, this middle line, silver line here is other altcoins. Okay, so we can see the other general altcoins, they fairly level, right? Okay, Ripple had a big spike up, came down, and now Ripple, you can see here, just in this section here, you can see Ripple is slowly over the last like 10 days or so starting to push up a bit. Okay, the green one, Bitcoin Cash, is heading down in total market dominance, and the others I can barely see, right? But in general, what I'm trying to point out here is that Bitcoin is starting to move up in general in market dominance, and most of the altcoins are kind of heading down a bit. All right, so that's something to consider, because basically, let me just show you something. What we're starting to see, like a slightly different relationship between Bitcoin and the altcoins, because historically we saw that as Bitcoin goes up, the altcoins are going up also. Look, as Bitcoin's going up, the altcoins are going up also, right? But now, just now, for the first time, I think we're seeing Bitcoin start just go up in terms of like market cap, right? But the altcoin market cap is coming down. Do you understand? So it's only this last month or so that we've started to see this. All other times, Bitcoin market cap goes up, altcoins go up. But it's just the trend has just recently started to become inverse. So I don't know exactly where this is going to end up. I don't know exactly what the long-term effects of this is going to be. I mean, all we can do really is trade the charts. I mean, that's why I just, there was no point in me putting that there, really, was there? But yeah, anyway, so all we can do really is trade the charts and be in the right place at the right time. Right now, Bitcoin is looking solid, right? So anyway, heading over to the Bitcoin chart, like let's have a look, because this Bitcoin is the daddy, is the boss, is the one that dictates everything, right? Bitcoin has been through, it's weathered many storms, it's been through many controversies, it's been through many scandals. People, there's been many organizations that have tried to, destroy Bitcoin, and it's still at all-time high levels, right? And the altcoins are kind of going through just some of our Bitcoin has had to go through, and we can see the effects on the altcoins, right? Even though they're not going through as much, I suppose they are getting regulated in a lot of ways, the ICOs and stuff like that. But Bitcoin's been going through this stuff for the last 5-6 years, right? So anyway, let me tell you what I'm seeing here in terms of the technical aspect of Bitcoin. Like, we have been holding this this trend here. Okay, this is a intermediary trend, let's say. Yeah, it's just like this trend is going to break. I'm expecting this trend to break at some point, right? But if we look at this, I mean, the price, if we check the 1 hour chart, we can basically see, although the price did not, in terms of the actual wicks, did not reach the all-time high, it was just below, because the all-time high on Bittrex, what we're looking at here, is about 49.5, and we reached about 49.25 the other day, right? Which is basically almost the same thing, right? Although it's not. If we look at the 4 hour, this is the interesting thing. If we look at the 4 hour chart, we can pretty much say that we equaled the all-time high. If not, we actually surpassed the all-time high in terms of the open and close prices on the 4 hour. So that's interesting, right? If you take the 4 hour chart, we've actually just about, I would say, just about leveled the all-time high. You know what? Let's bring this line really precisely down so we can actually measure it. There you go. We'll bring this line down here, and then we'll check. Yeah, you can see here. See, we actually just slightly broke above that, even if it was very brief. But the point I'm trying to make is, we actually, on the 4 hour chart, we actually closed above the all-time high. Okay, we had to close above the previous all-time high close price. Okay, so that's a positive thing, right? Okay. Secondly, I mean, what I'm looking at here is, it just looks bullish to me. I'm just seeing bullishness here, right? We had this kind of head and shoulders E pattern here, like inverse head and shoulders E pattern, and then we had a spring up here, move up, and then we're just kind of consolidating here. And I did say, okay, if we consolidate here, then this flag should break out a bit, okay, and we should break out the cloud. I think on the previous, break out this pattern here, the flag pattern here, right, which we did. We broke out here, okay, and that's what led us to breaking the all-time high close price on the 4 hour chart, okay. But since then, obviously, we've had rejection from there, which is fine. It's normal, okay. And I did mention in my previous video as well that I expect the price to get rejected from here, you know, and I expect it to actually come down more. But it's just, to me, it's just looking severely bullish, you know, in terms of the actual next couple of weeks or so for Bitcoin. Okay. Now I did mention before, you know, we could expect this to, you know, have a from here, just to have a kind of A, B, C kind of what happened there? It's the wrong one, wasn't it? I always pick the wrong one here. Okay, could expect this to have an ABC correction like this, actually down to this trend line here. Okay, and then we could make our way back up to this all-time high. Okay, if we check out the 4-hour cloud, let me have a look at where the 4-hour cloud is. Yeah, okay, then we could be looking at something like this, right? Something like that. Okay, let's just see something else here on the 3-hour. Yeah, I mean, if you look at the 3-hour, okay, it kind of correlates quite well here, and I guess we could be looking at something like that. Yeah, I mean, we could be looking at a correction like this. You could say we're playing it out here, you know, but I expect the price to correct a little bit more over the next day or so. You know, especially considering we're at the top here on the stochastic RSI. We're starting to head down here on the 12-hour. So definitely over the next day and a half, I expect this to come down at least a little bit. If it doesn't, and we, you know, the stochastic RSI is starting to come down, right? But we're still maintaining this level here, then that's extremely bullish, guys. That's extremely bullish for me. That, you know, so yeah, so that's something I'm looking at here. Another thing I want to kind of highlight to you guys is if we take this previous all-time high here at 3,000 here, you know, if we take this 3,000 zone here, and we kind of look at the all the kind of action, you know, sub 3,000 here, you know, when it first hit the all-time high, we can basically see that let's get rid of this line quickly. We can basically see that, you know, we had a rejection here, and we traded sideways for a while, and then, you know, it's quite a long drawn out, you know, few weeks sideways, and then we had a big kind of sell-off, and we bounced back up, and, you know, rejected off the all-time high a few more times before we broke out, basically. Yeah? And then we had a huge run up again. And now if you have a look at the situation here, I mean, just looking at the general pattern, is we're actually doing something very similar here. I don't know if you've noticed, but I'll point it out to you. The way we kind of just bounced off this all-time high and had a like ABC correction down, this is our, look, I'll actually draw it out for you here. Look, this is our ABC correction down, and you can see here we've had that very same thing here was another ABC correction down here. You can't see it very well here because this one is a lot steeper. Another thing I want to point out is the action here is a lot steeper than it was here. Here, the action is a lot more drawn out, right? But here it's a lot more steeper. But in general, we're kind of looking at the same thing, because if we look at this this zone here, what we could basically say is we've got a big ABC correction here, and we could say we've got a much steeper ABC correction here. Okay, is that making sense, guys? I hope it is. So since then, you know, if you look at here, you know, we've had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we broke out here, or we can pretty much, you know, draw our Elliott waves up here. We could say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, or say something like that, right? You know, you can draw in whichever way you want, really. But you know, I'm sure if you zoom in here, we'll be able to, if we zoom into the 6 hour, yeah, okay. So basically what I want to show you guys is this here, this section here is basically exactly the same as this, but in a different way, right? Here, this one here is drawn out more. This one here is much steeper. We've bounced, come sold off, had that bounce up again, and now we're kind of, now this zone here, this zone here is basically this zone here, guys. All right, it's the same thing. That zone here is this zone here. Okay, so you know, I'm not saying we're going to break through it straight away, right? But bear in mind the action here is a lot steeper than it is here. It's more drawn out here. Here we're looking at it, you know, things are just probably happening a lot quicker, and just like it's, you know, we can expect things to happen a lot steeper here. So if this is taking like, say, like 2 weeks to break the all-time high here we could probably say, okay, within a week or so, right? That's just my opinion, right? The way we've had a big, you know, sell off down here and then formed a cup and handle and then broke out. Here it's, you know, I guess we can expect maybe one ABC correction before we have a move up. Okay, so another thing I want to kind of highlight, something that I'm seeing personally is, guys, about this analysis, what I want to say is this is just my personal take on things. Take it as you will, right? I'm not saying I'm, you know, the best analyst in the world. I'm not saying, you know, no one technical analysis is perfect, right? And no two technical analysis is the same. Everyone has their own unique way of reading the charts, and everything makes sense to different people in a different way. That's why different people look at the way different people analyze charts, and you agree with some, you don't agree with others. So you pick what's right for your style, and you pick what makes sense for you, and as long as that works for you, then that's fine, right? So anyway, moving on. Now this was the all-time high back in like the beginning of the year, like March time, right? This zone here, like we're looking at the 1250 zone. So if we measure from one all-time high to the next all-time high, yeah, then if we're looking at percentages, we're looking at like, this one was 128%, right? So we can say, like, let's say 130%, just for argument's sake, right? We say, okay, this is 130%. Okay, now that's fine. So after that, if we measure the distance from this all-time high to where we are now, the current all-time high, we can see the percentage gain. Although we gained, you know, $2,000, which is obviously a lot of money, right? It's more than we gained last time in terms of the actual dollar amount. But in terms of percentage gain, we only gained 65.5%, right? So we've halved in terms of the actual percentage gain. We've halved. 65 is half of 130. So if you take that into account and say, okay, well, you know, and again, this isn't like a, you know, this isn't like a real, you know, certainty, let's say. Yeah, this is just my kind of what I've noticed, right? So if we take that and say, okay, I'm looking at around between 30 and 35%, yeah, and start looking at the numbers around there, we can say 32.5 is half of 65, right? So if we go from here and look at 32.5, we're looking at pretty much exactly the 6,500 zone. All right. 6,500. Okay, so now if we take the 6,500 zone, which is, let's say let's just draw it like this here. Okay, so if we look at the 6,500 zone and say, okay, well, I'm going to see if that correlates with anything else, right? Because I'm going to see if, let's say, if we look at the line chart here, my favorite line chart, and let's see, in terms of Fibonacci, how does this correlate? Okay, well, not exact with this in terms of percentages, but I guess with something like this, what you could do, I mean, if with something like this, it's quite easily like you could have a 12-hour candle close here, but the wicks would touch this zone, right? The wicks would touch that zone, right? Let me just see something else, guys, with the Fibonacci. I haven't done this yet, as you can tell, but I'm just looking at different ways to measure this, the Fibonacci. Okay. Okay. So if you take it from the first all-time high, see the first all-time high here. There's too many drawings going on my thing. Let's do it from here, and take it from the breakout here. Then basically it correlates exactly with the 261% range, 261.8% range. Okay, and this zone right here is 4,200. Now I'm not saying that's, you know, that's an exact analysis, right? But I'm just looking at areas of interest, guys, right? I'm not saying it's going to stop there, right? But if we measure the move, let's say from here to here, and take that up again, well, that in actual fact correlates with the first Fibonacci. Okay, that in actual fact correlates more. No, it doesn't. Oh, yes, it does. Sorry, from this low here. You see? Okay, so there's points of interest. You can see this line here. I would probably go with this line here, because I'd probably take this up here. Why? Because this in actual fact would be the fifth wave in the Elliott wave, because what we're in fact looking at here is basically just one big Elliott wave. We're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And if we make that really thick so you can see it, and maybe a bit brighter so you can see it, there you go. So this Elliott wave here is basically what we're looking to complete. All right, so in crypto, basically the fifth leg of the Elliott wave is usually longer than it's usually more drawn out and a lot longer than the other waves, right? So, but it's not 100% guaranteed. So another thing, guys, is as we're heading towards the fork, this is kind of correlating with that. I mean, we've still got 15 days left, like over 2 weeks left before the actual fork, and like I said, this side here is a lot steeper than this side here, right? So the action here could potentially happen a lot faster than the action down here, right? So if you take that into account, I mean, once we surpass this zone, then price will move up very fast, right? Because we've got nothing, no points of reference on the left of us, right? So what I'm saying is, once we get past the zone, we potentially hit this zone very, very fast, right? Which means if we break this zone within the next 4 or 5 days, possibly a week, then we could potentially be heading up to this zone just before the actual hard fork, right? And that would actually coincide with, the correction in Bitcoin, because at some point we're expecting Bitcoin to correct. Okay, at some point, wherever it might go, we're expecting wherever the price might head to, we're going to expect a correction down to here. Who knows? Who knows, right? We have to look at that as and when the time comes, right? But the point I'm trying to make is, if this plays out the way I think it might play out, then by the time we get to those points of interest up there, up towards the 6.5, between 6.5 to 7,000 range, then that will probably be just around the same time that we're having that hard fork, right? And then obviously that could, we don't know how the market is going to react to that hard fork, but usually these things kind of coincide with each other. When we have an incident and when we're expecting a correction in Bitcoin, at a certain time, in terms of like the whole technical side of things, and then we have something fundamental that's happening. I don't know why, but it usually kind of happens at the same time. It's weird how it happens, but it does, right? So that's it, guys. It's been a bit of a kind of jumbly analysis today, but that's what I'm seeing here with Bitcoin. Where I'm hoping for it to, maybe chop around in this zone for a little while. It could chop around for a few days, could chop around for a week. I mean, if we look at it closely, I mean, we're still really kind of holding this hourly cloud. I mean, we've had a correction down here, but look at this zone. We're still kind of supported on this hourly cloud, which is really, really bullish. If we keep on holding this cloud and just keep this zone here, then we could easily pop out of here any time, right? If we don't, then really and truly we're still maintaining this trend right here, right? This trend right here, we're still kind of maintaining that. And if we break out of there, I mean, let's say if we correct further from here, I mean, what I would be looking at here is this zone right here. See this zone here, this previous all-time high, well, not all-time high, previous high that we broke out of. This top would correlate with this 2-hour cloud here, and it's a nice round figure as well because it's at 4,500, right? That's potentially where we could come down to. Or slightly higher, just depending on how far we go. If we keep going further, then we could be looking at the 4-hour. Could be looking at the 4-hour. Anyway, guys, I'm going to stop fiddling with the charts now. I hope that helps. Let me know in the comments what you think. And yeah, basically, it's just watch this space, guys. We're hovering around the all-time high zone. If we break that, then obviously that's going to have an effect on the altcoin market. But in general, guys, it's looking really, really bullish, and we'll see how it goes. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.